Hi, it's Leigh Farnell here, and I want to talk to you about something that is a very important topic when it comes to leadership. I'm talking about this word which many of us don't have well, we've heard about it, but what has it got to do? The culture of our team, the culture of our organisation, the culture of our sales team or our management team. And many times people have used and defined the culture as the way we think and do things around here. How do we think and do things around here? How do we think about the customer? How do we think about each other? How do we behave? How do we communicate with each other? I mean, certainly I've been in teams where it's okay to actually say that customer is a real pain in the neck, or it's okay to bag the customer, or it's okay to even be rude, or it's okay to be disrespectful, or also I've heard of where people are very disrespectful to each other or disrespectful to management. So the language, the way we actually talk to each other and about each other. Is it okay to catch each other doing things right, or do we actually around here just bag and even blame? What's acceptable and unacceptable around here? Well, who set culture? Who sets the tone in the place? Well, in the first instance, it's the leaders. In the first instance, often particularly, it's the founders. How do they behave to each other? How do they? How respectful are they of each other? What goes on in meetings? How do we actually? In fact, meetings are a great example of culture. First of all, something as time. How respectful are we of time? Is it okay to walk in late in these meetings? Is it okay to interrupt or talk over the top of each other? Is it okay to say, I haven't done that? Is it okay to make excuses and blame? Do we stick to agendas or do we not stick to agendas? Do we hold each other accountable in a respectful way or not? What's our attitude to family? I remember a lawyer, a friend of mine at one stage, they said, if you're going to be a mother, you can't be a partner here because you're not going to put in the billable hours. Well, that says a lot about the culture. Or another lawyer situation where it's like the time you start. Mate, if you get in here after 6 o'clock in the morning, you're lazy. Or if you're not here, if your car's not in the car park at 10 o'clock at night, then you're just not putting in. I mean, that says something about the culture. And so when you start to look at high-performing organisations, whether it be organisations like Virgin, or you talk about Apple, or you talk about even what would be another culture that we sometimes look up to. Certainly in the old days, you'd look at the body shop. There's many organisations that people look up to in terms of culture, the way we like each other, the way we have fun together, our attitude to work. Certainly, it's the leaders that set the tone. The leader sets the tone. If the leader's grumpy, then you'll set a grumpy tone in the workplace. If the leader is sort of about fun and respect, you'll actually get that, because you'll get that in the rest of the organisation. So high-performing cultures have high standards. High-performing cultures. I'm just looking at some articles today on football clubs and leadership groups, how the leadership group sets the tone. In the old days, we think St Kilda were notorious as a party group because they were always out on the grog. And of course, their performance on the field was not so good either. At the same time, you start looking at high-performing cultures at one stage. The Eagles in the early 90s, what was going on at Essendon, goodness knows, in terms of standards, excuses, pushing the boundaries. But either way, your leadership group, Geelong, certainly there's a turnaround at Geelong under Brian Cook in terms of Hawthorn in the 80s, the culture. At Collingwood, you have to say what's going on at the culture there. It looks like it's a tattoo-laden culture. It goes on and on. The standards and the culture. And as a leader, as a manager, you want to be checking, what is our culture? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? What might we need to do to change it? And sometimes you need to change some of the people who are major influences in the culture. But You want to have a healthy culture, because even if you have great systems in a sick culture, it may be a great seed put into very unfertile or poisoned soil. So as a manager, it's not just about the systems and the people, it really is about what seeds are you planting and how healthy is the soil that you planted in. So I hope that helps, because as a leader management group, you are responsible for managing, shaping, leading a healthy, high-performing culture. Want to know more? Contact leigh@farnell.com, or give me a call or touch base. Culture.